as now CDOT gloves it.
Harrison Cass has not seen a lot of ice time in this game, especially here in the third period, and he was caught on the ice for the game-tying goal by Graham.
Apologies again for the technical difficulties. The Hat-Tricks have given up 2 goals. In the last few minutes, it's been 4-on-4. There is now 1:25 left in the game. And it appears as if a timeout is being called. But the Hat-Tricks now tied 4-4 with Port Huron, 1:25 to play in the third period, and a timeout.
Yeah, 2 goals, 39 seconds apart. That is tough to take when you're up 4-2. And, last night, Danbury also started to kick away a third period lead, but they never lost it. They allowed Port Huron to tie the game, but then it was Steve Mealy who late in the third period scored the clutch game-winning goal, and brother Tom then scored into the empty net. And again, I don't want to jinx it here, but Danbury has not trailed yet this season. They haven't trailed today. They had that 2-goal lead, and now it's back to 4-4. They want to, if they can, obviously they want to get a goal right here if they can. But even if you get it to overtime, at least you're guaranteeing yourself, a point here to get it to that point. Right now they look like they're on their heels. And I know this timeout was called by Port Huron. I'd almost argue that Danbury needed the timeout more than Port Huron to regroup and also get their key guys a blow, get them a chance to catch their wind before this face-off deep in their own ends.
Ruiz will take the draw to the left of CDOT. He wins it to the corner. It's chipped ahead by Atwell, but not out of the zone. Ruiz in the corner, all the way around to the near side, and Kuznetsov with a strong play on his stick to get that puck to center. Ruiz trying to intercept, and he does at his own line, falling down up the left wing, unable to keep control. It's steered back towards the Hat-Tricks. Atwell with 1:05 to play across the line, and Bunnell's shot wide of the net. In the near side, Kuznetsov, near circle. Bunnell chasing in after it. In the corner, Kuznetsov loses the puck and turns right back, going around behind the net. Kuznetsov working to the far side, out back in front, unable to find a hat-trick stick. 45 seconds to play in the third period. Steve Mealy, across to Aaron Atwell. Hat-tricks, outlet, Kilcheski up to Finberg. Finberg unable to control. 30 seconds to play in the period. Prowlers looking to have one last chance. 20 seconds left in on CDOT, and he'll just cover up. It's 18.1 left.
Smart play there by Port Huron. They dump the puck in, but they dump it in on net, and they send a man hard to the net. So CDOT, who would prefer there to keep the puck alive and let the clock keep running, instead has to glove it. Now you have an important face-off to the goalie's left, deep in the Danbury zone.
It's Johnny Ruiz who will take that face-off against Federle, who's been playing defense this whole series, but Federle will take it, and Ruiz wins it to the corner. Ruiz back behind the net with 12 seconds to go. Atwell is hard off the glass and gets it to center ice. It is taken right back by Port Huron. Federle far side, his shot blocked. The second chance just wide with 1 second left, and the horn sounds, and we will head to overtime here in Danbury. It's 4-4 after regulation. Prowlers and Hat-Tricks headed to OT.
Well, I got to tell you, I could use one of these right now, but if you want one of the best milkshakes you ever had, Josh, and I could use one right now, I could use a little bit of that. Cool down a little bit. You want to taste greatness? Well, hit the Holiday Diner on White Street and feast off their menu. It's breakfast, lunch, dinner with George and the crew. Check them out on White Street right here in Danbury, the Holiday Diner. We get our first overtime of the season. Josh Starr smiling because, of course, he gets paid overtime. If they go overtime, he goes overtime, he gets paid overtime. Isn't that how it works?
That would be pretty cool if that's how it works. Hat-tricks, first time this year in OT. Now, it was 2 years ago, Johnny Ruiz, 7 game-winning goals on the season. And I would imagine him, maybe the Mealys and Kuznetsov are going to be the ones the Hat-tricks try and get the puck to in this overtime.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the flip side for Port Huron, you know the guys that you're going to see because you've been seeing them the majority of the time last night and tonight. You know, that line centered by Matt Graham with Dalton Jay and Mo Levac. Those are the guys to watch. And keep an eye on the defenseman, Austin Federley. He's really had the jump in the second half of this game. And, of course, he had 2 big goals there in the third period as well. His first 2 of the season. Alex Johnson, of course, the veteran defenseman you got to watch as well. Port Huron is going to ride those 4 or 5 veterans here in overtime.
The hat tricks also appear to be riding their veterans. It's going to be the Mealy brothers and Aaron Atwell as the 3-player unit to start overtime. And just like you said, it's Johnson, Graham, and Jay to start overtime for Port Huron. 5 minutes on the clock in overtime. Hat tricks have a point, looking to be able to start the season undefeated and 2-0. Hat tricks will move right to left in OT. Prowlers left to right. Steve Mealy against Matt Graham in the faceoff circle. Mealy wins it. Atwell controls up to Mealy. Up the left side across the zone. Mealy at the left circle. His shot snapped off of Johnson into the corner. Tom able to find it. Plays it up to Atwell at the point. Now left circle. It's Tom Mealy. Drops it for Atwell. Bottom of the near circle. 20 seconds into overtime. Turned over. Johnson takes it the other way. Johnson leaves it off to the near side. Jay and Ruiz just onto the ice. Deflects that puck out of play. 4:33 to play in overtime. 4-4. Tied in OT.
Yeah, this not that I'm not excited seeing the Mealy brothers out there, but here you got Ruiz and Kuznetsov and Daniluk. This is a threesome that excites me. I want to see what they can do here as Port Huron doesn't change things up.
Ruiz against a tired trio as able to win the faceoff forward to himself, but can't control it after. It's Johnson back the other way. Johnson slowing things down for Port Huron. Will turn in his own zone and start a breakout. Off to the left wing, Jay. Jay across the hat-tricks line. At the left circle, Johnson. Left circle, working down low behind the net. Johnson all the way around, wraparound try, left pad, stopped by CDOT. Hat-tricks the other way, down a look, trying to spring Ruiz. It's out of his reach. It's all the way down the ice with 4 to play in overtime. To the far side, it's Kuznetsov. Fires a shot off the boards. Banks out to the near side. Ruiz will play it out to center ice. 3:50 to go in OT. Off the stick of Bennell into the Port Huron zone. Bennell turns back. Cross ice speed. Kuznetsov fires, and it's stopped by Harney right in the slot. 3:40 to play. Kuznetsov, a great chance in OT to win the game. Unable to do it. Solis, a minute and a half into overtime. Up left to right through center ice for Port Huron across the hat-tricks line. Poked away by Anderson. Played behind the boards, behind the net, and Atwell is able to take it. Ahead to Anderson, and he's stopped in his own zone. Behind the net, drops it for Atwell with 3:15 to play in overtime. Atwell slowing it down for the hat-tricks now. Hat-tricks won 7-5 last night, looking for a win number 2 tonight. Atwell across the Port Huron line. Stops just inside the zone. He'll take it back out towards center. 3 minutes to play in overtime with Corey Anderson taking the puck up through the neutral zone. All the way at the slot. Mealy fires. It's off a body and out in the other direction to the corner. At the point, it's Anderson. He fires one, blocked out by Lambton, and Port Huron trying to spring forward, but unable to. Anderson back, and Mealy is able to play it to him. Anderson's outlet is stopped by the Port Huron defense, and now Daniluk turns it over at his own line. Now it's a breakaway for Graham. In from the red line. Graham in on CDOT at the right circle. His forehand is stopped by CDOT. Now the rebound try through the slot. Nobody was home. CDOT keeps the hat-tricks alive in overtime. 2 minutes to play in the third. In overtime, rather. In the corner, Tom Mealy trying to play that puck forward. 2 minutes left. 4-4. Overtime. CDOT keeping the hat-tricks alive with a big save breakaway on Matt Graham. It's behind in the corner. Daniluk seals off for Sura. Now Mealy outlets Johnny Ruiz one-on-one. Johnny Ruiz across the Port Huron line. Right circle into the slot. Snapper just high and wide. He's unable to find the rebound. And the Hat-Tricks now with a change. It's a 2-on-1 for Port Huron. Right side. Johnson out in front. One-timer just wide of the net. The net comes off its moorings. 1:28 to go in the overtime. 1:26 rather. Wow. End to end. Two big chances for Port Huron, and CDOT able to stop one. The other one went wide.
Yeah, and after that last one, which was a 2-on-1, it was not a great change here by Danbury. Ruiz coming off the ice, Kuznetsov coming on. Kuznetsov came on. It was way behind the play. It was a 2-on-1, and they misfired. They never got the shot on net, and Johnson had his hands on top of his head afterwards. Couldn't believe that they didn't bury that one.
Finberg out in overtime here to take the draw. He loses it. It's out in front. Another stop from CDOT. The rebound. He pokes it away through traffic, and the net comes off again behind the net. CDOT standing on his head in overtime. This could be 3 times now that Port Huron has scored an OT. It's still a tied game.
That's a great job right there. The biggest save, well, of course, was the flat-out breakaway by Graham. You know, the veteran who scored on a breakaway earlier in the game, this time got denied by CDOT, and there, CDOT with another big stop.
Finberg able to win the draw this time. He's up the left wing. Finberg waiting for some help. Finberg at the left circle, winds, blasts. It's stopped by Harney. 1:07 to play in overtime. It's 4-4. Hat-Tricks with CDOT in net, making some large saves for Danbury.
Yeah, this 3-on-3 overtime teams have had their opportunities. The best one for Danbury, of course, was Kuznetsov alone in the slot.
3 forwards out for Danbury. Now it's the Mealys and Anderson. Mealy, Steve over to his brother Tom, far dasher at the circle. Touched away from him. Now the Prowlers control. Under a minute to play in overtime. Turned over Anderson. Over to Tom Mealy at the right circle. Mealy loses control. The second chance off the post, and it does not go out to center ice. 45 seconds left. Oh, so close for Danbury. The first Tom wasn't able to connect on the pass. Then he took the shot, and it went off the post. 33 seconds left in overtime. Gordy Bonnell racing through center, right to left across the line. Bonnell streaking out wide at the circle. Out in front, Anderson, one-timer, scores! Corey Anderson wins it in overtime. Gordy Bonnell got the legs moving, and he slides it over to Anderson, who pots it. The one-timer over the glove of Harney. Hat-Tricks 5, Prowlers 4. It's a 2-0 start for the Hat-Tricks.
Corey Anderson, who these first couple games just seemed to be a little bit off. He had more shots wide of the mark than he actually put on goal. But boy, when it counted most here in overtime, he took a terrific feed, 2-on-1 in the overtime, and he just roots it over the glove to win this one. And Danbury is 2-0 to start the season.
Take a look at the goal. The Hat-Tricks. Here's CDOT getting the barrel. He kept the Hat-Tricks alive. It was his multiple overtime saves that made the Anderson goal possible. And the Hat-Tricks able to win it 5-4 in overtime. Here's the goal once again in OT. It was Bonnell who was just able to slide it across. Anderson made no mistake putting it top shelf.
Yeah, absolutely. Walked right into it. Bonnell feathered it perfectly. He drew both defenders to him. I mean, it's not a good job defensively by Port Huron, but Bonnell takes advantage of it. He gets the step on Jay, then the defenseman plays him as well. That leaves Anderson wide open, and he just beats him glove side. Boy, that's a pretty play there by Bonnell on the assist and Anderson on the finish. And there you go, Danbury off to a 2-0 start.
The Hat-Tricks 2-0 behind Cooper CDOT and Corey Anderson in overtime. Couldn't have done it without the goaltending in the back end.
Yeah, if we had to pick 3 stars here, if we had any say in this, I know Anderson gets the game-winning goal. And I know what the mealies meant in this game, the hard minutes that they played and the goals they scored. To me, the difference in the game was the play of Cooper Cedot, who finished with 35 saves in his second start on back-to-back nights and going into overtime for Danbury.
The Hat-Tricks win it 5-4 at home. They sweep the opening series against Port Huron. They're back in action on November 10th, home against Watertown. It's a Wednesday night here at Danbury Arena. And again, the Hat-Tricks went through this whole game, never trailed. They broke a couple times. They blew a 2-goal lead, but they fought back. CDOT again, large in overtime, and Anderson able to win it. But the Hat-Tricks still never trailed in these two games.
Yeah, and it's interesting. When I talked to Billy McCreary earlier in the week, we're kind of previewing the season and, how you put a roster together and everything. He says, here are the two things that I look for the most in players when I want to sign them. High character, high compete. And then after that, he said, high hockey IQ fits in there as well, but character and compete. And you have to show a lot of character and a lot of compete. When you blow leads, you bend, but you don't break. And the same thing happened last night. They faced a lot of third period adversity. Here they faced third period and overtime adversity, and they're able to stare it down and find a way. And the kid goalie, Cooper Cedot, the rookie, gets wins in his first two starts. And again, like I said, I thought he was the number one star today. And good to see Corey Anderson finish, with the game-winning goal. Because, I thought he was a little bit off offensively the first couple of games. But when the chips were down, boy, he did not make a mistake.
He was in, obviously, a lot of ice time. He had a point last night, but he never really felt like that Corey Anderson scoring threat was there. They called him Scory 2 years ago, and he does it in overtime tonight. That'll get him going. The break for the Hat-Tricks to get healthy, get some systems in place, and come back strong. 2-0 start, not much to complain about, and the Hat-Tricks will go into this long break pretty happy.
Absolutely, and Coach McIsaac told me that, he looks forward to this break because he said after these first two games back-to-back, he said it'll give him, the coaching staff, GM Billy McCreary, a time to step back, kind of evaluate. What do we have here? What have we seen over the first couple games? What do we need to work on? We're going to have a bunch of practices. They're going to do some team bonding away from the rink as well. And then they'll reconvene, as you said, on November 10th against Watertown when the schedule kind of picks up and you get into your normal flow of the season. So they'll take advantage this next 10, 11 days. You'll take advantage of it. Let your voice rest a little bit.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll get back at it against Watertown on the 10th.
It was started off by the Mealy brothers assisting on each other's goals in the second period. The Hat-Tricks never trailed. They were up 4-2, a 4-on-4 late in the third, made it 4-4 for Port Huron coming back, but in overtime, Cooper Cedot making multiple huge saves for the Hat-Tricks, and Corey Anderson from Gordy Bunnell to finish it off in OT. The Hat-Tricks start the season 2-0. For Jim Cerny, I'm Josh Starr. Thanks for joining us. The Hat-Tricks remain perfect early in the season. Corey Anderson wins it in OT. Hat-Tricks take it 5-4 against Port Huron. We'll see you on November 10th right here on the Hat